Yes.
Okay, everyone, thanks for being troopers and hanging out for the 2 hours today. Or if you're just picking this up on the on-demand YouTube channel, great, good to see you. My name is Zubin Gidwani. I'm the founder of the company Dynamic Budgets. About 15 years back, I was probably in your shoes. If you were a customer, I had one foot in finance, one foot in IT. I was financial systems administrator with a public traded company. We had about 600 departments under management. We had seven financial analysts, and some ridiculous reason, I was deemed the corporate magician to build the Excel templates and ship those budgets out to the managers, and then wait for my inbox to blow up and process them. I was highly motivated to try to find any budgeting solution that would get me out of that role, and I couldn't find anything that was easy enough for non-technical, non-financial operating staff to touch. They were incredibly gifted at breaking anything that we handed them in Excel. They'd butcher the formulas, they'd break the links, etc. I'd have way too many versions to process. I didn't know which one I was supposed to consider their final version that we're supposed to include. That was just a nightmare. And we looked to find something that we could replace that process with. And most solutions charged per each individual user that touched the product. And we couldn't afford to roll it out to 100 plus managers. Um, and we didn't, finally, when we did find some things that we thought we could make work, it was so complex. It was great as an Excel jockey to be able to manage. Maybe three people in finance could use this tool, but we couldn't imagine trying to train the end users on it. So we've set out and built a tool to fix those problems. Dynamic Budgets is a budgeting, forecasting, and reporting solution for Sage Intacct. We started in Microsoft Dynamics GP, and about 60% of our customers are switching over to Sage Intacct. We've been on the Sage Intacct platform for about 3 years. Our product is about 15 years old. And what you'll see here in a little bit, I'll walk you through this on the screens and give you experience of the platform. Conceptually, what we're trying to encourage are basically use the tool to capture the line item details, the details of the budget request. Don't say, I need $100,000 for training next year. I want to know what they're going to spend in which month for what purpose. If they've given us that level of detail, we can run a budget to actual variance report on the month and say, did you spend $10,000 this month to send Joe to that conference? Yes or no? And if it didn't happen, okay, well, are you rescheduling that to later in the year, or did you cancel it, or is even Joe was still with us and employed? Or what is that a cost savings to the organization, or is that a timing difference? Capture that information and then use that when you go back around and try to use this as a continuous feedback loop. Use that in your next reforecast or when you go to plan for the next budget. If a manager leaves the organization, you've lost institutional knowledge. Well, if you've got a tool like Dynamic Budgets and the managers have been diligently taking their notes and explaining themselves why they're over under this new $10,000 expense, that's a vendor contract that we have to pay next year. It's an annual commitment. Plan for it. Or it was a one-off expense, extraordinary equipment failure. We repaired it and we're good to go for the next 5 years. We want all that information captured in the software such that managers have that at their fingertips to take action upon. QR code here on the screen. Feel free to zap that. That'll take you to a little launch pad that's got a link to our YouTube channel, to our request for demos, request for a free trial, and such. Um, if I can find my mouse. Why do we stand out? One of the things that frustrated me as a potential buyer was how long most of these solutions were quoting to get up and running. It's not uncommon to hear 100 to 200 hours estimate for implementing a budgeting or reporting solution. Our product is up and running, fully configured. Your data is loaded, your payroll is loaded, your financial reports are tweaked to look like your existing reports in Sage Intacct or whatever reporting tool you might use. We can replicate those. You're up and running in about 20 hours with the product in the hands of the managers, and you roll out the budgets and start that budget season. We have an unlimited user license, so that can be substantial cost savings compared to some of our competitors. Very easy to use product. We have a lot of customers who say, Zubin, you just don't understand. We've got non-technical, non-financial users. Like, you mean the ones that are really gifted at breaking Excel? Yeah, that's who we built the tool for. Um, Want to specifically, we've kind of talked about the Excel features. I mean, you know that already. I'm not going to spend time on that slide. I want to talk to you specifically about what we offer for Sage Intacct. We spent a lot of time and effort over the last few years building out our integration for Intacct. We have a direct API integration with Intacct. What does that mean? We have a data syncing tool that we use from our data center to refresh the data from Sage nightly. We copy the data out of Sage and we run from an Azure SQL database dedicated to you. This means that you're not constantly hitting the Intacct API. You're not potentially racking up charges for us in terms of what we're going to have to pass on to you. You don't have to buy the API developer license from Intacct. We've got that all taken care of for you. We typically sync once a night. If you want to set that up to be more frequent during the day, we can do so. We also have a sync on demand button that I'll show you in the tool. We pull data from Intacct and we also export data back to Intacct. So if you want to use the standard custom report writers from Intacct, they're pretty nice tools. You don't have to go invest in a third-party reporting tool. You've got good reporting tools in Intacct. Well, we're going to feed our budgets back into Intacct so you can and do so. Um, if you've been through that process, that nightmare process of trying to import your budget from Excel through Intacct, you know you have to prepare it, get it into their format, you've got to suck it in, and then you wait. And it might be 3 minutes, it might be 15 minutes till you get that email. And that email could have this weird cryptic error that may or may not even relate to what the problem was. Oh, it was happened to be that we had an inactive dimension. We actually pre-scan for a lot of those types of common errors and can alert you before you even initiate the export. So we will warn you, bark at you, you need to go activate this dimension. Or if you've got dimension relationships, restrictions that this project can only be associated with that employee. You can scan for those types of situations and uncover those errors before having to wait and incur those times. Typically, our exports will run in about 1 or 2 minutes, and much faster than that Intacct import. User access to particular dimensions. I'm going to show you that we've got a lot of dimensional or security, and I'll kind of walk you through some of those features. Specific comparison to Sage Intacct and Planning. Sage makes a lot of marketing noise about their product. They have a tool that is, we consider relatively still new to the marketplace. Our budgeting tool has been in existence for 15 years, 15 years of feature creeps, of adding on new features, functions, widgets, improvements to our screens in relation to customer feedback. Well, our customers range in size from about 10 million to over $1 billion that they're budgeting for. Size-wise, that might be from a small not-for-profit, maybe about 10 to 20 departments. Our largest customers got over 33,000 cost centers that they budget for. Um, Count of accounts, it's not uncommon for our customers to have, say, 10,000 to 100,000 plus accounts that they're budgeting for, accounts and dimensions that they're juggling. SIP previously had a limitation that they could only manage 3,000 line items, not 3,000 accounts, but only 3,000 line items of expenses. Strangely, their newest release of their product that we saw back at the June conference only give you the ability to budget to the account to the month. There was no line item itemization capabilities in their latest release of their product. They just launched their first rev of a payroll module this year. We've had payroll module from day one, 15 years ago. We have, in fact, three different payroll modules, even a fourth way to calculate payroll. So much more robust. This is the contact information of our sales manager. You can reach out to Jennifer Moniz. Here's her contact information, and she'll be more than happy to arrange for a demo or answer your questions and such. I'm going to jump into a quick product demo. Um, Amy, how am I doing my time?
You have a few minutes.
Okay, so I'm going to do a very quick overview for you. Typically, we would start with a budgeting screen, something like this. You're going to enter your day. You may structure this like a financial report with a couple years of actuals, forecast, next year's budget, and at some point, you're going to drill down and enter into an account and itemize your budget request. So I'm going to go into my rent for New York admin department, and I could put in rent, cam, security, itemize my budget requests and things like that. If I was curious as to why I spent $6,000 last August or last April, I could actually click into that and see the transactions related to that. If I'm looking and wanted to run a report and see all my transactions for prior year, I could grab my entire year 2019, a little data demo data here for my department 300. I can see all the transactions are accumulating here. And if I wanted to see what made up this dues and subscriptions expense, I can click on that link. And from Dynamic Budget, you can launch straight over into Intacct or into Ramp and drill down and look at the invoice level details associated with those transactions. So nice seamless integration between our product and a Sage, or if you're using Ramp or something like that, we can jump over to those systems. We have multiple payroll modules. We can get really detailed in here. You can enter the number of hours worked by employee, by pay period. We have the ability to take our data feeds that we have in the tool and point those out to Power BI. If you want to get into flashier, fancier graphs and charts and reporting, you can do that. What we've done specifically for Intacct is that we have the export capabilities here. So from a screen as simple as this, you simply select your data set, you choose your budget that we're working with. Down here in the lower left, I can choose my destination. So I can, if you are working with entity levels of transactions in Intacct, we can actually target a specific entity, or you can leave it at the top level and you can choose your destination budget and export out. We give you warning messages right here on screen if anything looks like it's going to trip, and we can even look at the dimension relationships and get my relationships and see what sort of restrictions I might have in place and whether or not we're compliant with those. We have a data synchronization tool, ERP Sync. In here, I can look at any given table. So if I just pushed a new transaction through for $10,000, I need that included in my report, and I don't want to wait till midnight tonight before it syncs over. I could hit preview data. I could bring up those account balances and transactions on screen. If you're using subledgers like the allocation or the accruals, we can even go out and work with multiple books in Intacct. I'm going to show one last couple of things. If you have relationship specific, dim code user access. Dimensions are a fun little beast, but if you had a single drop down for a project dimension, and within the project, you had IT projects and you had marketing projects and you had maintenance projects, and the IT manager doesn't want to see the marketing projects, and the marketing projects manager doesn't want to see the IT projects. You can assign access and restrict one person to only see the project codes in the drop-down menu that relate to them and restrict them from seeing the other people's financials or other people's codes. We like to control the chaos and try to limit people from making wrong decisions. Um, I can keep going on, but we've built a lot of these specific types of features to work with Intacct and to be able to have a very tight integration with that product. We also have the ability that if you are a CPA firm working with multiple customers, we even have the ability to work with a multi-client scenario such that you can come in here and pick the particular customer that you want to work with, and from a single interface be able to launch into multiple customers. And those customers do not need to be on the same version of the software. Our customers are on different fiscal years and want to take our upgrades at their own pace. So we have the ability to launch from a single interface and manage multiple customers. So I want to thank you for your time today. We're more than happy to follow up with you for more details, and I'll pass this back to Amy. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Zubin.